a city of sunshine and dreams, but on this morning, the city of angels awoke to a nightmare. A young mother, walking with her child in a quiet neighborhood, spotted what she thought was a mannequin lying in a vacant lot. But as she stepped closer, horror struck. This was no mannequin. It was the mutilated body of a young woman. Her name was Elizabeth Short. To the world, she would forever be remembered by a chilling name, the Black Dahlia. But who was she? Why did her life end in such a brutal way? And why, nearly 8 decades later, does her case still remain one of America's most haunting unsolved mysteries? Elizabeth Short was born on July 29, 1924, in Boston, Massachusetts. She was the third of 5 daughters in a working-class family. Her father, Cleo Short, built miniature golf courses. But when the Great Depression struck, he lost everything. One day, without warning, Cleo abandoned his wife and 5 daughters. For years, they believed he was dead, only to later discover he had started a new life in California. Elizabeth's mother, Phoebe, worked multiple jobs to raise the girls. Life was difficult, but Elizabeth stood out. She was strikingly beautiful, pale skin, jet black curls, and piercing blue eyes that seemed to hold secrets. But her health was fragile. She suffered from asthma and lung problems, forcing her to spend winters in warmer climates. She often traveled to Florida, where she was drawn to the Navy bases during World War II. Sailors remembered her as charming, mysterious, and unforgettable. Elizabeth was restless. Boston felt too small for the life she envisioned. She longed for something more: glamour, opportunity, escape. In the mid-1940s, she followed her dreams to Los Angeles. Hollywood was booming. War had ended, and the city was alive with nightclubs, jazz, and film studios churning out stars. For countless young women, Hollywood promised fame. For Elizabeth, it promised freedom. She earned the nickname the Black Dahlia, inspired by her dark wardrobe, her beauty, and the 1946 noir film The Blue Dahlia. She became a familiar face around Hollywood cafes and clubs. Men were captivated by her looks, but friends say she often struggled financially, drifting from place to place, waiting tables, and relying on acquaintances for help. She wanted to be remembered, and she would be, though not in the way she dreamed. On January 15, 1947, Los Angeles was forever scarred. At about 10 a.m., a woman named Betty Berzinger was walking with her daughter along Norton Avenue in Leimert Park. That's when she saw what looked like a mannequin dumped in an empty lot. But it wasn't plastic. It was Elizabeth Short. Her body had been severed at the waist, completely drained of blood, and laid out with almost surgical precision. Her face had been slashed from ear to ear, what's known as a Glasgow smile. And her body had been grotesquely posed, arms above her head, as though staged for maximum shock. Even hardened detectives were shaken. This wasn't just murder. It was a performance, a statement, a crime meant to terrify. The Black Dahlia case became the largest investigation in LAPD history at the time. Reporters swarmed police headquarters, hungry for details. Newspapers across the country splashed her face on front pages, fueling national obsession. It was the dawn of tabloid crime reporting, and Elizabeth Short became the perfect storm: a beautiful young woman, Hollywood dreams, and a murder too horrific to ignore. Over 150 suspects were interrogated: doctors, boyfriends, strangers, Hollywood figures. More than 50 people confessed to the crime, but all were proven false. The killer seemed to enjoy the attention. Just days after the murder, a letter arrived at the Los Angeles Examiner. It was made of newspaper clippings to hide handwriting, and it read, "Here is Dahlia's belongings, letter to follow." Inside were some of Elizabeth's personal items: her birth certificate, photos, and address book. It was chilling proof. The killer was watching, and he wanted the world to know. Other suspects included ex-boyfriends, aspiring actors, and complete strangers who fit fragments of the evidence. Yet no one as weeks turned into months, theories multiplied. Some investigators believed the killer had surgical knowledge. The body had been cut with precision, suggesting a medical background. Could the killer have been a doctor? Others whispered about organized crime. Hollywood, they said, had a dark underbelly, gambling, mob ties, and corruption. Was Elizabeth caught in something bigger than herself? One suspect has remained infamous, Dr. George Hodel, a wealthy Los Angeles physician. Hodel was known for his intelligence, charm, and disturbing behavior. Years later, his own son, Steve Hodel, a retired LAPD detective, would accuse him of the Black Dahlia murder. Steve uncovered photographs, recordings, and circumstantial evidence that seemed to link his father to the crime. But nothing was ever proven, as ever charged. Each lead ended the same way, in frustration and dead ends. Elizabeth Short's murder remains unsolved, but her story refuses to fade. Her case inspired books, films, and endless theories. She became an icon of Hollywood's dark side, the girl who chased dreams but found only tragedy. Behind the legend of the Black Dahlia, though, was a real young woman. Elizabeth loved movies. She dreamed of stardom. She was 22 years old, with her whole life ahead of her. And yet, nearly 8 decades later, the world remembers her not for the life she lived, but for the mystery of her death. Perhaps that is what makes the Black Dahlia case so chilling. The brutality, the mystery, the silence of justice. Somewhere in the shadows of Los Angeles, someone knew the truth. And maybe, just maybe, they walked away free, leaving behind one of America's most infamous unsolved murders. Soft music fades. Elizabeth's portrait appears, then fades to black with bold white letters, Unsolved. The Black Dahlia case is more than just a cold case. It is a ghost that haunts Los Angeles. Do you think the killer was Dr. George Hodel? Or was the truth buried long ago, lost to time? Tell us your theory in the comments below. And if you want more haunting stories of America's most chilling crimes, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for the next case file.